News Radio 840 WHAS. Good Sunday morning. Bob Sokoler, the Louisville Real Estate Show with you till the top of the hour. We've got with us Chuck Crosby from the Crosby Law Offices. Great guy, does a great job closings, and he does a lot more like wills. So you want to jot down his number. He's certainly a guy you can rely on and call 499-6360. Another guy you can rely on and call, and he comes in as a team because it's Home Team Inspection Service. Brad Lawler. You can reach Brad at 844-411-TEAM. Gentlemen, good to have you here.
Good morning.
Yeah. Good morning. Well, let's start off with this question. I found this fascinating. We've had it once or twice before. Tony, and I think it's IE, so it's a lady, wrote us an email. She says, our neighbors have a pool, and they like to skinny dip in the pool in the evening. And so Tony says she's got young kids, and she is worried that one of them might see what's going on there. So she's wondering, apparently she just moved into this house, didn't know that the neighbors were doing this. I guess you can't really see that if you're going to look on a walkthrough or you're looking at the home. She's wondering, what action can she take, Chuck? What would you suggest?
Well, do you really want to call the cops on, somebody in the backyard within decent exposure?
Yeah.
You'll definitely not be invited to the block party. I've seen it happen before where, I'm trying to draw the closest analogy I can get is the fellow would urinate off the back of his deck and there was no fence. So neighborhood kids are, standing right there while he's doing his business. That, of course, did not work out well for him. I certainly wouldn't want to equate being a naturalist with anything criminal, but there are scenarios where I can see lines being crossed. Apple pie diplomacy, take over a pie and say, hey guys, I think maybe, be helpful if you put up a bigger fence or something. That just really, that's a hard one, Bob.
Chuck, I get that. Would you suggest here that if, in the light of apple pie diplomacy, could you go to a place that makes cakes and have them draw a swimming pool with somebody diving in naked and say, hey,
you need to cover that up. Now, I know people who are into perhaps that, and they all have big fences. They're not trying anything. So if there is a lack of fencing, or she's just afraid that the kids are going to seek it out, there's not much about that. Okay, somebody wants to peer through your windows, you're not necessarily liable for that. Though there's a couple of really interesting cases that sometimes suggest otherwise. It's just something you go talk to them about. Right. And if it's a real thing, go ahead.
No, we'll finish this up on this one question, then we'll move on, I promise. So if you are a nudist, I'm turning this around, and like maybe some friends that you might have, you mentioned this, Chuck, and you do everything you can to protect your privacy and anybody seeing into your backyard, yet you like to sunbathe or whatever in the nude, is it illegal to do that if you've taken any precautions that are needed?
Well, that the equivalent in my mind is standing naked in front of a window. If you've pulled the curtains and somebody walks up and opens the curtains and peers through, if it's an adult, well, they're the criminal. But if it's a kid, things get murky. Okay. The whole, if you put up a fence, top it with barbed wire, put a wild dog in there to prevent a kid from getting into something, and the kid still gets into it, well, you're still liable. Okay. So there's, with kids, it's a little bit murkier.
All right. We're going to move on because we've gone to this one, and there's really no answer at this point, but okay. Hopefully, Tony, this gives you a little insight. You just keep the kids from looking into the neighbor's yard. This one for you, Brad, a question, and actually for you and Chuck on this. This comes from Jackson. He's selling his home and is in the process of remodeling the bathrooms. He was under the impression that he should caulk around the toilet bases at the toilets where they meet the floor. His neighbor came over and said, don't do that because it might hide any leaks if the toilet is leaking. So, Brad, we'll start with you. From your perspective, you see a home where toilets have been caulked. He's wondering, should he caulk the toilets? And if he does, we'll get to Chuck on this. Would that be considered concealing a problem if it starts to leak? So let's start with you, Brad.
Well, I'm pretty sure my toilets are caulked. I'm not looking for caulk when we inspect. I'm looking to figure out whether or not that toilet is loose. I'm also checking the ceilings beneath those toilets because that's where the water is going to manifest itself. It's not going to sit there, under the bowl. So, yeah, I don't know that caulking is an issue. Certainly, if the base is loose at all, or there's staining beneath it, that would be a bigger problem than I think caulk around the toilet.
Got it. Chuck, concealment of a problem. Would you see that as a problem?
Well, there's got to be a problem that you've knowingly concealed before you've concealed a problem.
Okay.
So Brad says if his toilet works just fine and it's caulked, there's obviously no problem. What if you've caulked it, Brad, and all of a sudden the wax ring goes out? Are you concealing a problem, or did it just happen afterwards? See, those are the kinds of things you have to worry about. Just because you do something doesn't make it wrong. You've got to be knowingly trying to conceal something to somebody else's detriment, that kind of thing. There's elements that you have to walk through. But no, I don't think. I mean, is caulking a toilet a normal thing, Brad?
I'm just thinking through it. I probably see more that are caulked than are not caulked.
Really?
But I think that's probably more to keep, the water that's used to wash your floors from going underneath. I would guess. But
that's an interesting point.
Things that run down, obviously the side of the bowl from going under there.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think that falls under the category of: are you trying to conceal the termites in the floor joists by putting up drywall? If it's a normal structure.
But if I may be so bold, Chuck, would you not agree with me that if someone wanted to sue somebody because they put the drywall up to conceal the termites, they may have to go to court over it and spend money just to defend themselves?
No, I'm thinking more if drywall would normally go there.
It would. Okay. Got it. All right. That makes sense.
It doesn't imply of bad thought.
Moving on, we have 6 ways to help you sell your home, and it's just about guaranteed to help you find it before you have to close and sell. If you want more about that, go to bobsellmyhome.com, and there's information there, and then you can fill out a form, and it's no obligation, no cost, just let us know. We'll come out and help you. We move over to this one from Mark for you, Chuck. Mark just purchased a trailer in a mobile home park, and says in an email that he sent us, he did a background check on the owner and everything looked good, but now the trailer park is asking Mark to pay for back lot rent that was owed to the trailer park by the guy who Mark purchased the trailer from. Can they do that is what he's asking. Can they actually go after him for some back rent? And I know this is a very obscure question because we don't really deal with a whole lot of trailer parks or trailers.
And that's not even a real estate question because most homes are personal property. They're like a car. And if a person sells you his mobile home and it's on a lot, my bet is, they can come after you because if it was owed, I'd call it analogous to taxes. Just because you don't know they exist doesn't make them go away. And it would seem to me like a fair question would be, before buying it, asking the people where it sits, hey, is the rent behind on this? So it's not, and I don't know that the lot would necessarily fall under the Landlord-Tenant Act. You're not a tenant per se in a residential unit. It's a piece of ground that you're renting.
Let me extrapolate this a little differently, because I am aware of people who have rented apartments and the water company or a cable company were back owed money, and these people moved in and they are being inundated with phone calls or maybe letters from these utilities wanting their back money. The new renters have no obligation to pay, right?
They
don't.
But they don't get harassed. I got to tell you, I've heard some horror stories.
No. We want to do a whole show on that someday then. Yeah. All right. We'll leave that there. It just occurred to me that is a problem I've heard of as well. Brad, Raffaella sent us an email. He is looking for his first home while walking around the house. In fact, you and I communicated on this via text recently. Walking around the house with his realtor, he noticed that his agent called stair step cracking over a garage door. standard. And Rafaela is wondering, why is that standard? Why is that happen? Because he likes his one particular home, but it's got stair-step crack going up the wall.
Well, stair-step cracking is typically the sign of a structural movement in a home. So usually we're looking at that as something we're going to look for some additional clues as to whether or not we got things going on. Over a garage door, particularly, if you're looking at the lintel to see whether or not it's failing, that's causing some of the stresses on the brick. That's something that I would not call standard. Certainly would. There's going to be more to the story to see, do we see evidence of that crack on the inside of the drywall? Are we, any other evidence in the garage, any other evidence around the corner from where that cracking might be to really tell us whether or not something's moving? But no, that would not, any stair step crack would not, you'd want to do more investigation on that. That's not normal.
So if anybody's listening to us and they have a brick home, if they go to their garage and they look over their garage, if they see cracking of the bricks over, and explain what the lintel is and whether it should be painted or not, because that's another part of the question.
All right. So the lintel is the steel piece that holds up the bricks above your garage door opening or above your windows. Those should be painted. Oftentimes they're not, because if they're not painted, if they don't have a coating on them, then they rust. When they rust, then they lose structural integrity, which causes the bricks then to fall. And you'll see what we refer to as a smiling garage door, because you've got, it looks like a smiley face. It looks like the top of your garage is smiling at you because the lintel is failing. So yeah, you're looking to make sure that the metal piece is painted and you're not having cracks, particularly in the corners, because that's going to give us evidence that we've got some of those bricks that are shifting, whether it's the lintel that's failing or whether it's the foundation beneath that is starting to move a bit.
So key points that we take away from what Brad just said, and that goes for me, Chuck, and this also goes for you. After the show, and maybe folks, you may want to do this sometime today, go to your garage if you've got one and look above the garage door. There should be this lintel, which is this metal piece that holds up the brick, and see above that if there are cracks going through bricks going up or around that bricks, which is basically called stair stepping. Yep. And Brad, because I see this all the time, if we see it, what should we do? What should Chuck do if he sees it?
So if you see it, and it'll be over a garage door or it could be over a window, you definitely want to get with, a masonry contractor would be the perfect person to talk to about it, because they're going to be able to correct the issue, replace the lintel, put the structure back together the way that it was intended to be, and stabilize those bricks again. But a brick layer, a masonry contractor would be the go-to on that.
Good advice, and certainly all of us should be looking at this. And again, I take also away from your comments that builders should be painting those lintels. Yeah. I don't understand why, because I lived in a house for 18 years and they didn't paint the lintels, and I don't understand why they don't.
Because they usually come in primed.
Okay.
So they put them in, they'll have a gray primer coat on them, typically, is what you'll see. And then what happens is they don't recoat them, and then the homeowners just don't pay attention to it because it's such a thin little piece that's facing there. But yeah, they usually have a primer coat on them.
All right, good information. We're going to take a break. If you'd like to see a rebroadcast of today's show, let's say you got something out of the lentil question, you can go to LouisvilleAnswers.com right now or later today or whenever, and you'll see the YouTube channel that takes you to LouisvilleAnswers.com, and there you'll see the video version of our show, which will give you can send that to your friends or family, whoever you want to get them in the know, because that's what we're all about. As we take a break, with us here for the past few minutes and then up to the top of the hour, Chuck Crosby, the Crosby Law Offices at 499-6360. Also, Brad Lawler, owner of Home Team Inspection Services, 844-411-TEAM. You can reach me, Bob Sokoler, if you're thinking about selling your home this year, next year, or beyond. Free consultation, no obligation, at 376-5483. We're back in a moment on News Radio 840 WHAS. News Radio 840 WHAS. We're here till the top of the hour. Bob Sokoler. Thank you, Barbara Corcoran. It was great seeing her in New York this past week. We got new commercials coming out in a couple of months or so. With us continuing, we've got Brad Lawler, owner of Home Team Inspection Service. You can reach them. They come in as a team. They really do a great job. 844-411-TEAM. By the way, compliments to you. One of our clients, buyer, said he was very impressed. you guys, he gets there to the inspection, and there's this, it seemed like a swarm of inspectors going over the house. So that was
Good.
Great to hear.
Good. We love to hear that. Thank you.
Yeah, very good. Chuck Crosby, who always has a favorable rating. The Crosby Law Office is 499-6360. And you can reach Chuck for not only closings, which you can pick the closing attorney you want. Chuck does a great job. He also does wills, and he's entertaining, which is probably phenomenal when it comes to closing your loan. It takes away the tension.
Everybody's all worked up and
yes, they are. Yeah.
Press and pressure. Yeah, let's just let a little of that go.
Again, Chuck's number 499-6360. All right, back to your phone calls again. We're doing Zoom shows, so send me an email, bob@wesellouisville.com. Put radio question in the subject line and then the question itself, and then we'll use it on the air. Michelle writes in on this, Brett. She says, I was traveling down the street. This is a really, really interesting question because I've seen this too. Traveling down the street to my house, and about 2 blocks away, I noticed a neighbor's tree that was dead and looked like it could tip over with a gust of wind. And Chuck, you're in on this too, so hang in here. I've heard us talk about, she's heard us talk about sending a letter to a neighbor if worried about a tree falling on a property or a car. But what about someone down the block who has a tree that could fall either on their house or on a car traveling on the street? So let's start with Brad, which as an inspector, you don't look at trees, do you?
No, that's outside the scope of a home inspection. We would, recommend that an arborist, take a look at any of the trees on the property.
So that takes us to Chuck. So if you see, and again, I get it because I had this happen to me with a neighbor's tree limb coming down and on my fence. So yeah, if I had known that was going to happen, I would have sent a letter, that deal. We talked about that. But what about driving down the street and seeing a tree that could be on the route that you're taking that could come down with a gust of wind? What do you do there?
Well, if you think about it, if it's in a city, there's going to be a city department that handles that kind of stuff. All of them. If it's in an HOA, you've got the homeowners association that you can contact. I'm on the board of our HOA, and dead trees are a common topic, and you have to take care of them.
And if the tree is on public land, all the better, because then it's notification of the city or the municipality that handles the public land.
They're responsible for taking care of it. But in fact, let's say it's on a neighbor's property or something like that, in the city of Louisville, give them a call. They come out, they can cite a person for having a dead tree and that sort of thing. So there's always multiple ways to go.
Easy for you to say, but if you're not in the know, then this is an important part of the show.
Way to get it. Give me a call.
Yeah, we'll go out Chuck's number in just a bit. Brad Berkeley shopping for a home here in Louisville. He's found only a couple that he's interested in, and one of the homes has stucco on the outside. His agent's saying that there are red flags in buying a stucco home. I know we've talked about this on the show, but what are some of the things that anybody who's buying a stucco home should be aware of?
Well, okay, so let's define that there's a difference between stucco and what we would know as an artificial stucco, or what we refer to as EIFS, or maybe some people in the commercial space would call it dry-vit. But true stucco is more of a concrete type product, and there are less issues with that. So if you're looking at, more historic homes, older homes in the city, that may be true stucco. And that is plaster on lath construction. With the EIFS product, what that is basically a skim coat over an insulated board, so polystyrene board. And if it's not installed correctly, EIFS can build up a lot of water behind it, and a lot of damage can be done completely hidden from anybody's view. And so the challenge with the EIFS homes is that you really need to find someone who's certified to do EIFS inspection. And an EIFS inspection is not a visual inspection. It's actually an inspection that you have to do, that you drill holes in it to check moisture levels behind it. And there's only 2 companies in the entire region I'm aware of that are certified to do EIFS inspections. Home Team's one of them. But we do them quite frequently on a lot of homes in the area, even if they've used the artificial stucco as trim rather than just full walls. You can still have a lot of damage that's done. Manufactured stone veneer is another product that is also has to be installed correctly. If not, water gets behind it and also causes a tremendous amount of damage there too. So I wouldn't be completely afraid of stucco,
Right.
but you just got to know that it's been installed correctly and it's inspected and tested properly.
We should tell you that if you're thinking of selling your home, we have a free no obligation booklet that has hundreds of useful tips. If you want a copy, free of charge, send me an email, bob@wesellouisville.com, and put selling tips in the subject line. And I should point out that if you're thinking of selling your home, you may want a copy of Home Team Inspections, what to expect with an inspection.
Right.
And that's free of charge as well. Email bob@wesellouisville.com and just say, send me the home inspection, what to expect. Something along home inspection, I'll know, and I'll send that out to you also free of charge and no obligation, right? Arnold discovered a leak in his water line last month, Brad, and he had it fixed. The water bill he just received was more than $1,000. So obviously this water line was leaking. That's pretty bad. He heard he could appeal the bill to the water company, and he's wondering, do any of us know about it? I will tell you. Do you know anything about it?
No, I've heard people that have tried it, and the water company's response has been if it's on the home side of the meter, then it's the homeowner's problem. If it's on the other side, but that's just anecdotal evidence. I've not gone through it, so tell me more. Tell me what you've heard.
So it wasn't what I heard, what I experienced. Now, admittedly, this is going back 6 or so years ago, so policy could have changed. So folks, take this with a big grain of salt, but know that this is a possibility you want to check. So I had a water leak in the line leading to the house, but it was on my side of the meter, and discovered that after a little while, and I think the bill came to $500. And I called them on this, and I said, hey, listen, is there anything that can be done? And they said at the time that if I produced a receipt from a plumber or a trade that fixed this, which documented it being fixed, that they would reduce it by half, basically, the amount. Now, would I tell you to run out and do this if you have the problem? I said, I would tell you to investigate it, because, depending upon what the water bill is, half of the water bill is half of the water bill.
Well, so, and I think there's, of course, in the city of Louisville, we're also paying the stormwater and the sewage, the sewer runoff based on the amount of water we're using. So you get the double whammy there.
If you want to see the future of home photography, head to Louisville3D.com. That's Louisville3D.com. And you'll see some of the stuff that we do and produce. By the way, Chuck had a split as we're heading to the top of the hour. Even today, he had a closing he had to go to, so he's working all the time. One more question for you, Brad. Wally is buying a home from a for sale by owner and was told by the seller that the roof on the home is 5 years old but has a life expectancy of 40 years and comes with a warranty. Now, you hear Brad laughing a little bit there. You can hear that. A friend of Wally's says that the whole roof warranty thing is smoke and mirrors. What's the scoop on the roof? So all right. I'm sure the roofers are not going to be happy with you or me, but tell everybody what's going on.
Okay. So the first thing I'm going to say is the shingles are rated for 30 years or 40 years or 50 years based on thicknesses and the structure of them. Yeah. However, the installation is what makes or breaks that warranty. And they have to be installed in a particular manner. They have to. Some of the shingle manufacturers require certified installers to do that. They require certain. You have to have the right underlayments. You have to have new roof sheathing done. You have to have a particular pitch on the roof. So I don't know of anyone who's ever successfully gotten a warranty claim on their 30-year roof that only lasted 20 years or 15 years. But what I can tell you is that the home inspector or the roofing contractor should be able to tell the client kind of where it is in the lifespan of those shingles by looking at some of the things we've talked about: granular loss, whether they're lifting, curled edges, all of the things we talk about all the time. You can look at and tell whether or not it's going to, is it really a 5 year, 5 years old, or was a section of it replaced 5 years ago and the rest of the roof looks to be 20 or more years old. We see that all the time. People say, well, the roof was replaced 2 years ago. No, one small section was replaced 2 years ago. The rest of the roof is, 20 years old. So just buyer beware on that as far as the roofing warranty. Go back, if they've got the original paperwork from the roofer, if they're still in business, call the roofer, see what they have to say about it. And but yeah, I'm call me skeptical.
Yeah, well, all right, some key words is if you have a roof replaced, keep those records, file them away where you know. But I will tell you, contrary to what you said, that just last month, we had a seller who had a roof that some of the shingles didn't match the others. They had faded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
yeah.
This couple saved the warranty and saved the installation. They went back to the roofing company, and the roofing company made them what I would consider a spectacular offer with either replacing the shingles that were not the same color or towards a new roof. And we gave that option to the buyers. They were my sellers. We gave that, and the buyers picked what they wanted to. But it's all about records and maintain. And you want to be nice about this, because the minute you get angry and mean, things get out of control.
And the point that they were able to go back to the person who put the roof on originally. I mean, how many people can say you can go back to the person who put your roof on 20 years ago,
and that they were still in business,
right?
That they were still in business, right? Because in this day and age with COVID and everything,
under the same ownership.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we are out of time, folks. Interesting show. Brad Lawler, owner of Home Team Inspection Service. They come in as a team, and they do a great job. They're the #1 home team inspection service 7 years in a row. When will we know if we've made it to the 8th year in a row?
About January 20th.
Okay, so we're waiting with bated breath. And Brad's number 844-411-TEAM. Chuck Crosby, who was also with us, who has already gone off to work on closings this morning. Yeah, even on a Sunday, Chuck's a great guy, does a great job. If you need him, you want to talk to him, whether it's closings or wills or anything else he does, or his advice, he is a great guy. 499-6360. And you can reach me for a consultation on getting your home sold. I'll come out. We talk about it. It's me. It's not an agent. It's not anybody else. It's me. I come out, for better or worse. And I'm dressed pretty nice. I'm not going to wear jeans, and I'm not going to wear shorts. I come out. We talk. No obligation. No fees. Nothing. It's all about what we do to help our potential sellers and sellers get the job done and sell a house. You can reach me at 376-5483. We're out of time. See you next Sunday on News Radio 840 WHAS.